AM10 and 105.3 FM.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park Money Radio Studios, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM, and the World Wide Web, moneyradio1510.com. And if you're just tuning in, Health Futures is a show about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And I'm able to do this by bringing extraordinary guests here to the show. My family and I, we own a home care agency here in the Valley. We're in our 24th year, and our goal is to make a difference for our older adult population to be able to live independently as they can be at home. And how do we do this? We do that by providing extraordinary caregivers. Those are people that have passion, compassion, and want to make a difference in somebody's life. And they are the additional hands, feet, eyes, ears, and assistance for those people that want to age successfully in place. And statistically, we know 92%, more than 9 out of 10 people want to age at home successfully. And we're able to do that by bringing out and bringing forward those caregivers. So I want to give a shout out to, we're always looking for good people. So if you're tuning in today and you are one of those good people, or you know of a neighbor, friend, have a family member that has that caring, compassionate way about them, that want to make a difference in somebody's life, have them call it Cypress Home Care. They can call us at 602-264-8009, and we can get them started on one of our fabulous, extraordinary clients that we serve here in the Valley. So, as I said at the top, our show is what it is because we bring extraordinary guests, and today's no different. I have the pleasure of having Kent Dix on the air. He is the president and CEO of 365 Live? Live 365.
Right.
Live 365. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here, Bob.
Well, I'm excited about having you here on the show. We were supposed to have Stephen Johnston here on the show as well, and we'll talk a little bit about him a little bit later. He was one of the co-founders for Aging 2.0, and you and I have had a chance to get to know one another because we serve on the committee here for the Phoenix market, and we have an Aging 2.0 chapter right here.
Right.
And, both of us, and as well as our leader, Sydney Peck, who's been here on our show before, we have, it's only been like 9 or 10 months. We've created this movement, this buzz here in our community, helping identify technology, innovations, and ways that people can age successfully in place.
Right. I've been extremely ecstatic to be part of it over the last probably 8 or 9 months. Our company, Live 365, is actually our third company here, started in Arizona. I'm a native, born and raised, one of the few, and graduated at Arizona State University. But my last 2 companies have actually specialized in trying to connect people outside the hospital, in the home, to be able to live independently, safely, and actually help address their care issues as well.
Well, it's a perfect space to be in, and we have this thing that's happening right now with our population getting older. I've talked about it here on the show. Dr. Ken Dykewald, it's a name that is hard to spell, but D-Y-C-H-T-W-A-L-D, wrote a book called The Age Wave back in 1986. He kind of predicted what we're experiencing right now about our aging demographic. And one of the things he said recently is that it's very interesting to note that 2/3 of the world's population that has ever lived to the age of 65 is actually walking to the earth today. So, I mean, we have an aging demographic. It's not an epidemic, it's pandemic. And we cannot build enough communities, and I'm talking about assisted living, independent living communities, to house our older adults. So what do? Home is truly the center of care.
Yeah.
And innovations like you have developed here at, I know I'm going to butcher it. It's 365 Live.
Live 365.
Live 365. Thank
Right.
you. Live 365.
Life all year round.
There you go. Life all year round. Enable people to do just that.
Right. Yeah. So that's been the big emphasis. Is not only the aging demographics and population. You know, I'm dealing with parents that are older. We just recently moved my mom and dad from the farm in Iowa to independent living, and it was the right time, right, to be able to do that. Mom and dad have severe chronic conditions, which a lot of seniors do, and we had to. They wanted to stay in their home as long as possible. They wanted to live in Iowa, and all the families here in Arizona, and we wanted to stay lightly connected to each other. We don't want to put cameras in every room and sensors underneath the floors and be alerted every time they open the refrigerator. But we want to put technology in place to make sure that they can handle their care independently themselves and live in a place that they want to live in as long as they want to do that with their friends in Iowa. But stay lightly connected to our family and know that they're safe and okay.
You know, and I think connection is real important. But like you said, I mean, you want to be connected, but you don't want to be intrusive.
Right.
You don't. You know, a lot of people think about, hey, we can just put nanny cams everywhere.
Right.
They don't want that.
Granny cams, right?
Granny cams,
Right.
exactly.
And we don't want to do that.
No, definitely don't want to do that. So, quick question for you: you were born and raised here?
Yes.
Mom and dad live in Iowa?
Well, they moved out here in 1960. And Mom was pregnant with me at the time, and Dad finished up his master's degree at ASU. They came from Ames, Iowa.
Ames, Iowa.
Right, yeah. So they live in Ottumwa, Iowa, where Radar O'Reilly's from, right? And basically, Dad taught out here for all this time, and then decided when I was in sixth grade to go back and move back to Iowa. And so I had a year living on the farm in Iowa, and that's about all that they wanted to do was about a year of farming. But Mom and Dad came back. They built houses in Payson for years.
Nice.
And then Dad retired back to Iowa. Right.
There you go. And I know that region just because my daughter used to live there in Des Moines.
Yeah.
She was a broadcaster with WOI.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think it's Channel 5, ABC.
Yeah.
So I know the area. It's God country there.
It is. I always talk about, Mom knows I talk about her and the situation and stuff like that. Mom, if we do personas, Mom is the gatekeeper. She's Mama Bear, right? She's connected on tablets and she's got a computer and Dad is actually off the grid, right? So I mean, if you want to connect to him, you're not going to do that
right
via email. You always have to go through Mama Bear to be able to do that. So. You have to be able to understand people and how they want to be treated and respected. I always say, especially with my mom and dad too, there's perspective and then there's reality, right? Perception and then reality.
Right.
Perception is they're doing okay and they're compliant to their health. Reality is they're going to do it their way, right? To do that. I'm a little bit of a different person in healthcare, especially around seniors, is that I'm a big believer that you lose the battle and you win the war. So if losing the battle means people are going to do things on their terms, winning the war is keeping them healthy, quality of life, and out of the hospital, then why don't we embrace that, right, to be able to do that?
Right.
We shouldn't, as a healthcare system, go through and say, you have to do it my way, right? I want to be able to do it the way you want to live. So we're working with communities here in Arizona that specifically are looking at how do we design homes so that you can live outside of, to be independent, to stay in your own home as long as you want. I call it the circle of care. In the middle is, ultimately going to heaven, right? And the ultimate outside the circle is assisted living, then independent living. Well, I think there's another ring, which is communal living for the circle of care. And so, with that, I think people should be able to live in their own homes and should be able to receive the services that they would from independent living and assisted living, and then slowly migrate into independent and assisted living when they want to. And people want to stay in their homes longer, and that could be when they're 80, 90, whatever they choose.
We're up against a break, Ken.
Okay.
I want to pick up on where you left off. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm here on the show with Kent Dix from Live 365. We'll be right back.
Listening to the great news and advice from Money Radio is easier than ever with many choices. Log on to moneyradio1510.com to find all the options.
If you've ever thought about investing in real estate, but you haven't because you just aren't interested in the typical hassles and headaches of real estate, then don't touch that dial. For over a decade, Investment Property Experts has been helping investors take advantage of the growing Metro Phoenix real estate market through a unique offering of turnkey real estate investment services. Investment Property Experts eliminates the hassles and headaches by providing a full inventory of single-family homes that are fully renovated and occupied with tenants. IPX manages the property for you during the time you own it, and when the time comes, they can help you get it back on the market and facilitate the sale, all at no additional cost to you. And if you'd rather not purchase and own investment properties, Investment Property Experts offers a 9% return through deed of trust investment programs. Real estate market conditions in Phoenix have never been better. And with Investment Property Experts on your side, you'll be able to diversify into profitable real estate investments right from day one. Investment Property Experts, your true one-stop shop for real estate investing success. Get started by visiting azipx.com.
Support for Money Radio comes from Thrivent Financial, where faith and finances connect for good. Thrivent helps its members be wise with money and live generously. More than 2.3 million Christians count on Thrivent to help them protect their families and strengthen the communities where they live, work, and worship. To learn more about what makes Thrivent unique, contact me, Michael Burrick, at 480-513-6392. That's 480-513-6392.
Where will you be when the dust settles?
How do you feel, sir?
Dust storms are a year-round threat in Arizona. If you get caught in a dust storm, pull completely off the roadway. Turn your lights off, set your parking brake, keep your seatbelt on, and wait it out. It won't be long. Where will you be when the dust settles? That's up to you. Do the smart thing, do the safe thing. Pull aside, stay alive. Visit az511.gov for road conditions before leaving your house. Sponsored by ADOT in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hurry into Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Save up to $500 store-wide on the best brands and get queen sets for as low as $179.99 only at Mattress Firm.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and if you just are tuning in right now, we're on our second segment. I've got Kent Dix in the house. He is from Live 365, and you can catch that first segment right up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Push on the radio button. You can catch that segment, and you can also catch about 150 or 60 shows we've been bringing to you. As I said, we do it through bringing extraordinary guests. So, Ken, when we took our break, you were talking about the alternatives there are, and you gave that circle, heaven be in the middle, assisted living, independent living, your home.
Right.
We talked about how there are devices that we can have in the home to be able to afford people to live successfully, if you would. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you did share with us, you talked about your own family tree, if you would, your own family situation. Yeah. You talked about Mama Bear.
Yep.
And Mama Bear seems to be pretty progressive. She has embraced technology. She does email and assorted things, and Dad does not.
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, how old's Mom?
She's 81.
She's 81.
Yeah.
And, she, what do you think, typifies, what's it, 50-50 in terms of people out there that have embraced technology, or you think she's unique in that sense?
I think that it's probably about 50-50, right, from that standpoint. I don't try to be stereotypical about, an aging population. I'm getting older. I want things more simple, around me. There are some stats that show that 60% of seniors, however you define a senior, have access to a smartphone or use a smartphone now, but only 10% use it for more than just dialing a phone, right? Maybe texting, maybe downloading an app.
Right.
A lot of people, I will hear this from my mom, but I hear it from other people too, that I'm just stuck in time. I don't want to learn anything new. I want something simple. Heck, when I go to my iPhone, iOS phone, I mean, who's designed the settings on this thing? I mean, I don't even know what to turn off and turn on to make the battery work, right, and life work and stuff like that. We got to think simpler about things. At my age, if I had a VCR, it'd still be flashing 12, right? Because I just want it to be simple. I just want it to be done.
Right, and so true. I mean, we do need to make it simple, and our older adult population, including me and you, I mean, we're older. Sometimes
you. Yeah.
Definitely me.
Yeah.
I have more gray hair.
Yeah,
but we sometimes refuse to embrace some of the nuances that people have to go through. And I want to build on that and share with you and talk about how innovations are really the key that I see in our future for our aging adult population to live successfully. And, some of the breakthroughs that have happened and being a part of Aging 2.0, we've seen the Google car, the self-driving car. We've seen, Jibo, which is a social robot. We've seen a lot of cool things, but I want to talk about, those types of innovations, and one that I think is really going to be part of the breakthrough for older adults in embracing technologies is artificial intelligence and its voice activation. We see Amazon with the Alexa, or Echo, that is the Alexa. We have iPhone that has Siri. Voice commands, I think, can really help our older adults be able to utilize the technology. Like you said, only 10% of those people are actually using the iPhone for the other things it does other than the phone.
Yeah, I think it's important actually to determine what you do with things. I mean, I love developing what we're doing for me and for an aging population rather than somebody that's quite a bit younger than me, because a lot of times they're developing it for a Snapchat group or for a Facebook group or for a Twitter. And although the population I'm working with would love to be able to use that technology, they may not use it, and they may not use it that way, right, as well. We've got to be incredibly simple. Again, how we do stuff, I want things simple. I personally believe that apps on a smartphone are going to start going away here in the next 3 years, 3 to 4 years, that we will be using artificial intelligence to be able to learn our patterns, and this is where the art comes in, not in a creepy way. I mean, I don't want sensors and cameras, to be able to say, hey, you got up 7 times during the night to go to the bathroom, your UTI must be back, right? I'll have the computer automatically schedule an appointment with your doctor. I'll have Uber pick you up at 9 o'clock in the morning. The computer systems can do that. I mean, we can program that tomorrow. But is that how people want to live, right? I get a lot of people that say they don't want to live that way. So we've got to be smarter. When we have devices around us, when Echo's listening to us to do stuff, Echo can't go, that's your 20th time opening the refrigerator today, I'm now going to lock it. Right? Instead, or no, you're not going to turn the thermostat up. I forbid you to do that. What are you doing, Hal or Dave? Right? We don't want to get to that world, right? And stuff. We want a technology to assist us around us, but we don't want it to be able to impair us, right, or control us.
I think it's a great way to look at it, because I think we'll become robots.
Right.
I mean, we really will. I mean, we won't live life. But we need it to assist us.
Well, it's interesting. We have an analytic system in our back end called Personalize that learns people's behaviors. And give an example, my mom. We're starting to work with the Silver Sneakers programs that are out there, right? And so as a reward, for taking her medication, do we give her a Silver Sneakers membership? Well, it probably won't make her a fuel-efficient engine. It probably won't make her happy because Mom walks 300 steps a day on a walker. But if you gave her a Netflix subscription, she probably would value it, take her medication. And I know this is counterintuitive. This is where I'm a little disruptive to healthcare. But what is the main objective? Is the main objective to get her weight off, get off the medication, get off the walker? She's just not going to do that. Right? The main objective is to keep her happy, increase her quality of life, take her medication, and ultimately stay out of the hospital and reduce healthcare costs, right? So we need to embrace her on her terms. And that's what our model, we have a model called I Am Human, comparing Mom to the population, saying the population probably likes Silver Sneakers, or I am me. I am me means here's the characteristics of what I'm doing. I'm Mama Bear, and I walk in a walker 300 steps a day. And this is the best thing for me that motivates me going forward.
You know, I've known you for 9 months, and I've learned more about Live 365 just in what you just talked about than I've really known. I mean, I think that's amazing. I mean, it gives people the opportunity to be me. I mean, that's what they want to be.
Right. Well, what's interesting, too, is we're actually – so that's our software in the background, but we actually started looking at how can we get to a broader population of patients. So if you know anything about, digital health, right, it's been kind of emerging over the last 10 years, so like apps on cell phones, smartphones. Remember, my seniors aren't using smartphones for apps and stuff. So there's been over 150,000 apps developed for health and wellness and fitness.
Wow.
Right? That are put on Apple Store and Android Store. They get downloaded once and never get used again. Right? They just sit on the phone. So, we've got to be able to develop things and platforms for people that just make sense to be able to collect data. So we looked at, and we are creating a wearable, which we call the Life Band or Rain Band, which actually takes in a lot of different characteristics of how a senior kind of wants to live independently. I mean, I've got a presentation that shows from a senior's day-to-day living. Think about all the things around that they are addressed with. It could be medication adherence, right, with pill bottles. It could be that red button they wear around their neck that says, I'm a healthcare patient, leave me alone, right, stay away from me. It could be blood pressure devices. It could be remote control units. It could be a lot of different things, right, that are out there that they're faced with. And a lot of times because I'm now shoving all these independent technologies towards you, I'm not going to use any of them, right, because it's just complicated. So the band actually does a couple different things. It has, like a lot of people are saying, I want that Fitbit thing, right, but then they say, I don't want that Fitbit thing. I've seen people put a Fitbit on their 90-year-old dad just to see, not to get his steps and his heart rate, but to say, did Dad get up this morning? Is he breathing?
Right.
Does he have a heart rate? Right? And then be alerted if he doesn't. So the band takes little tiny indications, whether you're moving, whether you take your medication, are you socially engaged, to be able to connect to the cloud and say, I'm doing okay, right? It also has the ability to go through and connect to scales and blood pressure and glucose devices and pulse oximetry to send it to the electronic health record so your doctor can see it, right? It allows tools so that your family can be engaged with it. It has fall detection, ability to be able to wear in the shower. It has a microphone on it so you can talk remotely, like for Alexa type situations. And then it has the ability, with the whole blowing up of Theranos, right, over the last couple of years, rapid diagnostic distributors, rapid diagnostic makers want to get their tests to go home. I mean, my whole movement is to try to allow you to age in place and stay home, not keep you in the hospital. So the rapid diagnostic can actually be touched to the band, sent to the cloud, and throw the rapid diagnostic away. Home health care workers can take their badge, touch it for licensure and time and attendance to the cloud, and say that
right through the band.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And in Phoenix, we're making it so it connects directly to the cloud without a smartphone.
We're at halftime, Kent. I want to come back and talk to you the second half. You're listening to Health Futures. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Scott Pruitt is now the head of the Environmental Protection Agency following a confirmation vote mostly along party lines. Correspondent Manu Raju.
This nominee was confirmed by a 52-46 vote, where there was a couple of Democrats who actually voted for Mr. Pruitt's nomination. That is Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, two Democrats from energy-producing states who are conservative Democrats up for re-election in 2018.
A powerful winter storm is battering Southern California with 21 million people in its path. Meteorologist Derek Van Dam.
It's all thanks to a series of storm systems that continue to line up our atmospheric river of moisture that's going to produce significant rain and high elevation snowfall.
Some parts of Southern California could get up to 10 inches of rain. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average off 48 points, the S&P 500 down 2, while the Nasdaq gaining 9. I'm Ann Cates.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-445-6363. That's 1-800-445-6363. 1-800-445-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
You're listening to Money Radio, still at 1510 AM, but our FM has moved to 105.3 FM. Check it out.
Next generation living benefit riders on annuities and life insurance are changing the game in financial planning and resource allocation. But there are major differences among products. Get informed on the Financial Review as I sit down with best-selling author and retirement strategist Steve Jurich to learn the fundamentals and make the key comparisons. Join us Mondays and Thursdays at 4:35 p.m. right here on Money Radio.
OneTap, the leader in mobile apps, is growing and needs to hire over 20 outbound sales representatives to promote, sell, and retain business in Arizona. OneTap is looking for detailed-oriented, motivated individuals to join their team in Phoenix. Full and part-time positions are available right now. Full-time employment includes excellent benefits, high commissions, vacation days, and incredible resources and services to set you up for success. If you have exceptional service skills as well as PC and date entry proficiency, call 480-498-8300 or visit them online at onetap.net.
Hi, this is Geraldine, owner of Z Cleaners. You may have heard that Z Cleaners is Arizona's only certified couture care specialist. But what does that mean? It means we are required to complete specialized training, pass the toughest cleaning standards in our industry, and we are inspected at least 5 times a year by America's best cleaners. To care for your designer or bespoke clothing, choose the only certified dry cleaner in Arizona. Give us a call today at 602-CLEANER or visit us online at zcleaners.com. Z Cleaners, excellence always.
Are you struggling with stubborn, unwanted fat? Are your clothes not fitting the way they used to? Cool Sculpting is the way to go. Check out the world's leading non-invasive fat removal and body contouring treatment. Cool Sculpting at Scottsdale Center for Women's Health and Vitality Men's Health frees away unwanted fat for good without surgery or downtime. During your free consultation, we'll customize a plan for you. Cool Sculpting at Scottsdale Center for Women's Health and Vitality Men's Health. Call today, 480-425-8702 or visit vitalitycoolsculpting.com.
This Saturday, come into Village Inn for their Chicken Fried Frenzy. When you buy one chicken fried steak entree, you'll get another free. Only this Saturday, only at Village Inn.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're on our third segment. If you're just tuning in, I've got Kent Dix in the studio. He's the president and CEO of Life 365. And Life 365, sorry about that. Life 365, and it is an extraordinary learning that I just had in your second segment. So if you missed our first 2 segments, go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com, click on the radio button. You can catch the first 2. I want to pivot right back to you, Kent. You were telling us about some of the things that this Life 365 device, wearable, will be able to do. And the last thing you left off on, for me, is real important because I'm a home care provider, and we're embracing technology, especially for time and attendance, and you can utilize the device to be able to check in, and clock out.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we were trying to do when we're creating the wearable device out there, it's tied to a platform that actually family and caregivers can help monitor. It's not really monitoring; it's actually be instrumental in your care if you want it to be remotely. It's looking at a bunch of different things that people do to try to get people compliant. We looked at the fitness marketplace and the activity trackers that are out there, and if you look on your wrist, a lot of people are not wearing the activity trackers like they used to. But it's interesting, the seniors that we've talked with, out of 10, 5 had an activity trackers in the silver sneakers marketplace. But they go through and say, so why do you wear an activity tracker? Because it tells me when to move. It tells me what my steps are. So when you log into the background, no, I don't log into the background. Not at all. I don't want to see trending. I don't want to see anything else to be able to do that. All I do is just look at locally what happens on the band, right? So I think we have to embrace that as well. I mean, I'm a big person of embracing people on their terms. We allow for things to occur on the band that would normally be around you, like if you want to see steps, or if you want to have fall detection, or you want to be reminded when to take your medication, you can add that to the band to do that. We also, and then the data goes to the back end, and then people that are responsible for you or feeding other systems can actually get the data if they want to, but you don't have to log into it.
So let's talk about medications.
Sure.
Because let's face it, I mean, the biggest challenge we have with older adults is making sure they're taking their medication at the right time and the right doses.
Yeah.
So the device, the wearable, will be able to ping you and let you know it's time to take your medication.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. There's a couple different avenues I've been going down over the last couple of years. I almost started a store called Indie Living for independent living. We have baby stores, but we don't have senior stores and technology out there. So independent living would be a great place to be. The other one was 80-20 care, right? So we go out and embrace 80% of the benefit with about 20% of the effort. We see solutions as 20% technology and 80% psychology. So with that in mind, and looking at little tiny snippets of data, if my mom, I'm not going to give her complete history away, but is on 20 medications, which is pretty close,
right.
I'm not going to flash on the screen 20 different medications and pills types and everything else to remind her to do it. I'm going to flash up in the morning, it's time to take your medication, and she's going to say yes or no on a button that's there, or say nothing at all, which is really an answer, right? I'm going to trust, in this band at least, that she took the medication, right, to do it. Her medications may have been put in a very inexpensive Saturday through Sunday box, or it may be a pill pack, right, that's put out there as well.
Or it could be one of those dispensers that drops it.
It could.
Yep.
But I tend to look at, I tend to deal with, in my solutions, very light adherence solutions to try to get to a much broader group of people that are out there. So there are a little bit more complicated, more expensive solutions to be able to put with people that need to have more guidance or adherence to stuff. I tend to want to go after 20, 30, 40% of the population that I can. Are they moving? Are they breathing? Did you tell me you took your medication? Are you socially engaged? I mean, one thing I like about what we're putting on our band is I'm a person about social and communal and bringing things kind of together. So me just going through and saying, Mom, wear this band, and it'll tell you when you take your medication. We put a feature on it that connects to my smartphone that I call Nudge. And all I can do is just hit the button and nudge, and on the band it comes up with a heart with my name on it and says, I'm thinking about you. So she has now a desire to actually live, right, and to do stuff because I'm socially connected with her as well. So little tiny things like that. The other thing is there's a company in town called OctaBlue, and it actually it's owned by Citrix. They do the Internet of Things. So if the Internet of Things are little tiny data coming from your thermostat, what temperature is in the house, or what's the pollution level outside, or other things. In my past life with healthcare, I would send what are called FEV1 readings, like asthma readings, to the cloud. I may say you have a poor asthma reading. What's the natural thing that you do? Is just go through and say take your asthma medication, right? I'm starting a new thing called Life in Context, which is I'll get an FEV1 reading. I'll interface to OctaBlue. It'll go through and tell me your FEV1 reading is poor. You didn't take your medication, but your thermostat in your house says it's 49. the oxygen level outside, the pollution level is high, and you're not socially engaged. So maybe the real problem here is that you didn't pay your electric bill, right? And you're cold and it exacerbated your asthma. Instead of just cramming more medication with you, maybe we pay your electric bill and get you stabilized again and attract it from a social level instead of just a physiological and medicine level instead. So,
wow.
It's a different way of thinking.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're really talking about the environment. You're not talking about the individual person, and that environment can affect their health and their condition. In your case, the asthma situation.
There was a great project we did with the Navajo Indian Reservation about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. The parameters they brought to me are the people that we're going to monitor for diabetes are in a canyon. They're 60 miles away from their caregivers. There's no wireless connectivity. There's no electricity, but I need to get the glucose readings back to somebody in Window Rock, Arizona, so the nurse navigator would know who to go see. So we did it. And how did we do it? We took our device, which we called the Health Pal, that talked to a balloon 60,000 feet in the air with Space Data Corporation. Wow. They plugged it into a car lighter, a cigarette lighter in their car, and the data went back to Window Rock, Arizona. But one step farther, we actually recorded Peterson Zod's voice on it. He's the tribal leader, saying what their glucose level was, right, as well. So it brought that social connection together and made people be able to go through and go to the people that need the health attention first, right, instead of having to go 60 miles home to home to home to be able to do that. We're getting ready. I just got named to an advisory council here in Phoenix called Smart and Connected Phoenix. Mm-hmm. So it has Microsoft on it, Intel, Citrix, Cisco. My initiatives are very, very simple. I want to do something for Phoenix that I think is important, and one of those is to reduce the waiting lines at the VA and deal with our senior vets and make sure that they're okay, and so they don't have to wait a long time to be able to see a doctor. Right now, I believe it's both Tempe and Chandler Fire Department are randomly going out to the senior vets' homes to take their vital signs, but they don't know which ones to go to, right? So we want to connect them to the cloud, to the internet, to be able to go through and make sure we can get to the right vets when they need it in the right time.
Solutions. That's what it's all about,
Right.
Ken. It really is. And really, at the top of the show, I talked about how innovations are going to be the success for successful aging. You know, it's interesting. You talk about nudge. Yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, for me, you know, I think about, you know, did I call my dad today? Right. And we are so busy and pushing forward. I mean, you think about what we consume in one day versus what we did in 20 years ago and what we can accomplish. So, you know, a phone call may not be something we can do. We can text, but not all the older adults can text. So the ability to be able to nudge somebody, like you said, I mean, that literally hits me in my heart.
Yeah, I think it can be used for a lot of different reasons too. I mean, you could be sitting in a restaurant or a meeting and go, you know, I'm thinking of your mom, and that makes her feel great. But it also could be like, nudge me, Mom, when you get home, or nudge me when you get to the doctor, because she can nudge back.
Right.
One of the things I see in this is that I learned early on about dementia and even Alzheimer's that a lot of it is onset earlier when people get disconnected from their families, right? So, you know, when you're sitting around the table and goes, did you see a picture of the baby today? And it's all on social media and the parents aren't connected. It allows the social nudge feature allows you now to come back into texting on the phone, being connected with the family going forward.
Engagement.
It is.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth. I got Kent Dix from Life 365 in the studio. We're down our third segment. We'll be right back for our fourth.
The leader in business news is the station you can take with you wherever you go. Get the Money Radio app for your smartphone and stay connected.
Join certified financial planner Nancy Fleming this and every Wednesday afternoon as she joins me for Financial Review. Nancy and I discuss an array of topics from Social Security, taxes, to what types of obstacles you can and will face in retirement. So join Nancy every Wednesday afternoon at 4:35 for the Financial Review. Want more, Nancy? Be sure to tune in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for My Smart Retirement, right here on Money Radio.
Geico presents a voicemail from your friend
Tree.
Tree here. Just calling to say thanks for letting me crash at your place the other night. Well, on your place. It was a rough night. I had a bit too much wind, and I think I might have broke your chimney, actually. So, yeah. Any chance you'd want to drop off my tire swing? Yeah. I mean, if not, that's cool. Okay, later.
Trees won't pay for tree damage. Luckily, one call to the Geico Insurance Agency makes it easy to switch and save on homeowners insurance.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
It's time for your Digital Minute, powered by Fast Turtle.
Website design begins by learning about the business model, doing user research, and understanding how a service can fit into the user's lives in a meaningful way. Thus, web design has a crucial part in defining the business strategy, providing baselines for business decisions, and such design deliverables as personas and user stories. A good user experience-driven process doesn't end with the website being built. It's also about testing with people, supporting development, making ongoing adjustments even after the launch.
That was your Fast Turtle Digital Minute. Discover how SEO, PPC, and social media can grow your business. 888-468-8785. Get your free digital assessment today. FastTurtle.com.
Have a grand time at Village Inn's newest restaurant in far north Peoria. Head to 9800 West Happy Valley Road for friendly service and great meals.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're on our fourth segment. I've got Kent Dix from Life 365 here in the studio. And if you missed the first three segments, go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com and click on the radio button. You'll catch the first three segments. It's hard to believe we're down to our fourth segment, Kent. And by the way, that lead-in song, Bruce Springsteen, and we talked about Iowa. I'm from Baltimore, so the next lyric was
Baltimore Jack.
I got a wife and kid in Baltimore, Jack. So you and I met each other about 9 months ago. Right. Actually, we met earlier in an earlier life. You were with a company, you said HealthPal and MedApps. So we met in those days. But it's really been great getting reacquainted with you. And, we're part of this movement. And this movement is really innovations and the connection to aging. And, it was born 4 years ago out of San Francisco. And it was created by Stephen Johnston, who was supposed to be here today. He got stuck on an airplane, and then they deplaned, and who knows if he'll make it here, but we hope he does. And Katie Fike, and the two of them came together, and there are over 30 chapters around the world, not in this country, around the world, seeking to develop these innovations. And our Phoenix chapter came together, I think it was in April of last year, and we had a startup challenge in June. And it was amazing. We had over 100 people in attendance. We had 5 judges, 6 participants. And the woman that won in Phoenix, her product was called SilverNest.com. And SilverNest is a disruptor utilizing devices to find a home. It's kind of like Airbnb, but for older adults. And it was really, really slick and really cool. And there were others that were really interesting. So, the movement's happening. It's happening around the world, and it's happening right here in Phoenix. And we got one coming up real soon. So I wanted you to, talk a little bit about Aging 2.0 and give a shout-out to our upcoming one in April.
Yeah. So it's been an absolute pleasure to be part of Aging 2.0, meeting with you and Sydney and PK and Andrea and
Kendall.
Yeah, is
and Andy.
well? And Andy Barron.
Yep.
It's needed. I actually see that Phoenix is probably going to be one of the largest chapters probably for Aging 2.0. We have a lot of demographics here that make sense, right, going forward. So Arizona is a transplant state, but we also have our aging population, our senior population. We have our rural areas. We have our vets. We have our underserved. And I think that Aging 2.0 not only has just a mission, for our seniors, but it has a mission for quality of life after 50, right, over 50.
And we also have a shrinking demographic of caregivers.
Yeah.
The largest shrinking demographic in the entire country, because right now we have approximately 7 caregivers, and I'm talking not just paid, but family caregivers, and those are people ages between 45 and 64 caring for an older adult 80 plus. By 2030, that number is going to be less than 3. By 2050, it's going to be like 1.6. No other state has what we have. That's why we have to embrace innovations.
Yeah, well, part of the innovation is leveraging, and people want to consume healthcare on their own terms. People want to consume living on their own terms. So we need to embrace and enable people to be able to do that in their own homes, but also leverage the 70 million caregivers that are in the United States, and that's the family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, us personally, my wife and I, have taken it on ourselves to have at least 4 people that we know around us that we want to make sure they know they live by themselves, that they have family and friends they can count on at any time, right, to reach out to us. They range from 72 to 86 years old. And that is our mission in life. That's our pay it forward, right? To be able to do that. And so part of that is I get some very brutal feedback on our systems about what they want and what they don't want, right, of what works. They don't want to be nagged. They don't want to be spied on. They don't want to do anything like that. So we build that kind of concept into our product. But back to Aging 2.0, I believe it's like as a personal mission that we're going to build a big chapter in Phoenix of it because of the need. And part of the thing is I'm also a big believer in startups in Arizona and entrepreneurialism. And obviously I've got a big emphasis towards the aging population as well, aging in place. So on April 21st at SkySong, we are going to have our second pitch event, which allows companies that have a product that is targeted towards helping people. It doesn't, it primarily is going to be software-based companies, but it can be solutions, right, as well, like Silvernest,
right,
that's out there, to be able to help people live independently in multiple different fashions. To do that, it could be medication adherence, it could be finding a home, it could be automation tools, it could be a lot of different things that help.
It
right?
could be a physical assistive device, because there was one in the national conference that was a walker that was really, really cool. I mean, it was a great innovation that they came up with.
Right. There's a lot of different things that it could be to be able to make it work. It's interesting. I'll put it on my website, but there's something called the uninvited guest, which you can go out to our website and see it. But
what is your website, by the way?
It's www.life365inc.com.
Life365inc.com.
Right.
Got it.
Uninvited guest, which I'll put up there tomorrow. But it basically shows children that are concerned about their aging father living in the home and being able to give him electronic tools to be able to manage himself. So a fork that counts the calories, a cane that counts the steps, and a bed that counts his sleep. And I can just tell you by the end of that, none of that was being used, right, as well. He did it his way. Right.
Wow.
So it's pretty entertaining. But go out. I won't give the punchline.
It's a video, though.
It's a video, right? And go. That's a lesson to us that are developing technology for the older population to be able to listen, right, and do it in a way that's respectful, in a way that people want to live and not overburdensome as well.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting you say that, because I mean, we as adult children, we think we know, and obviously when our parents are getting older, You know, we hear about people being the sandwich generation. We hear about the reversal where the child now is the parent. But you know what? To your point, and you've said it all throughout our various segments, they're going to do it their way. So how do we accomplish the goal so that they can age successfully and still have them be able to do it their way?
Yeah, I mean, I've said those words myself before, like, now's the time for the child to become the parent. Is that really respectful? Right? I mean, there might be responsibilities that we take on, you know, that my parents don't want to take on or that we help, you know, with along the way, but they still are our parents, right? And they still are the senior members of our team, right, that are out there. They're the patriarchs, right, the monarchs. So, you know, we aging with respect and aging with dignity, right, is something that we need to embrace to do it, because guess what, my friend? We're going to be there right next.
It's real close.
It is. So we're going to want it. We always say we're going to want to do it on our terms, and you know, it becomes, as I see my parents age, it becomes tougher and tougher to make we think we're going to be bulletproof. It becomes tougher and tougher to make those decisions going forward. But it's interesting. Somebody actually told me the other day, like, when you look at a 21-year-old, they're probably at the bottom of the pyramid. They're probably really, really close together. When you start getting to an 80-year-old, you have people that, you know, are living at Sun City, Sun Health, you know, they're golfing every day, that are active and, you know, don't want to be monitored at all. They're more active than I am, right? Let's just say that.
They are.
And then you see other people on the other end of the spectrum that you may see that are people that are not very mobile at all. They're on oxygen, that, you know, aren't able to actually care for themselves. So we have to not stereotype people like seniors are all in chairs drooling, right? And treat them the same way, because they're not that way, right? Give tools to people that want to be aging on their terms and their characteristics and stuff, and get out of their way.
Well, I want to give a shout out on Life365Inc.com. But I admire you, Kent. I admire you and your wife, Kitty, for adopting these other families. And if there's a message I could deliver to everyone else, we should all be doing that. We should embrace our older adults that live around us, be kind of their safety net, be their advocates, because heavens knows we're going to be there, and too many of our older adults are aging successfully, or maybe even unsuccessfully, alone, and we need to be there, be their advocates.
Yep.
You've been listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. Kent Dix, thank you for being on the show. We're out.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress Home Care Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dean.
And I'm Rick the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today
and the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
Money Radio 1510
and 105.3 FM.
Is KFNN Mesa Phoenix and K287BX Mesa. Make the switch with us. Money Radio's moved to a new spot on your FM dial, 105.3. So try it out right now. The Dow Jones is down 45 points at 20,574. The Nasdaq is up 11 at 5826, but the S&P is down a point at 2345.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin now.